The best game of the year. The best direction for a game. The best direction for vocal narration in a game. The end of the year rolls around and we all come together to celebrate and argue over which game is the best and why everyone else is wrong. Since gaming is a huge part of entertainment, one thing we've seen pop up over the years is attempts to do gaming award shows and Oscars or Emmys for video games. These have come in many different forms, from basic People's Choice style awards like the Golden Joysticks to industry awards like the Game Developers' Choice Awards at GDC or the Game Critics Awards at E3. However, none of these have managed to achieve that Academy Awards level of success. Enter Geoff Keighley. Keighley has been around for a long time, longer than many people realize. Most people will remember him as the host of Game Trailers TV from 2005 to 2013. Others still will remember him as the replacement host on G4 TV, but Keighley got his start somewhere else. At just 14 years old, Keighley was given the opportunity to write lines for celebrities for Cybermania 94, the Ultimate Games Awards, the first video game award show broadcast on television. In fact, it's his words that William Shatner narrates when reading the nominations. While Cybermania was considered a failure, a farcical comedy show tangentially related to gaming with little serious attempt to be anything other than entertainment first and foremost, it was enough of a glimmer of potential that Keighley would make it his life's work to achieve a video game award show worthy of the industry and the passion of the gamers it services. And so, while you might know him from Game Trailers or G4 TV, you probably do remember him as the host of Spike TV's Video Game Awards, the VGAs, or in its last year, the VGXs. The Spike Awards were a glitzy, glamorous Hollywood attempt at producing a game award show, and in many ways, it was successful. In the 10 years that the VGAs were on the air, almost 100 games were announced or teased, hundreds of celebrities and dozens of musical performances were featured, and almost 24 categories were awarded every year. Today, Spike's Vector Monkey Award are sitting in trophy cases in the lobbies of dozens of developers around the world. Of course, if it were truly the best award show, why isn't it still on the air? Well, that's a complicated discussion with no single answer. Gamers didn't really love that celebrities and red carpet affairs were being given higher priority than the games themselves. Gamers certainly didn't appreciate the games are for geeks jokes and general campiness of the shows. There was an air of jokiness and disdain around the fact that these were awards being given out to what were obviously considered to be nothing more than toys. And in fact, the show itself often had a feeling of exactly that. An award show for the best-selling toys, surrounded by commercials designed to sell more of those toys. Red carpet interviews had B-list celebrities joking about being huge Frogger fans, and then showing up on stage to give out awards to games they didn't understand. Awards that were chosen by people nobody knew, and surrounded by advertisements. In 2013, the complaints that the show was over-commercialized and underappreciative were addressed by Spike and their owner Viacom by changing the VGAs to the VGX. Or VGXs. It's hard to know how to refer to it, as it was designed to be a hashtag on Twitter more than the name of an award. And as the show was cancelled after 1 year, we didn't get enough exposure for the awkwardness to eventually disappear. And they were awkward. Hosted by Joel McHale instead of Geoff Keighley, whether because they thought they needed to maintain at least some level of star power in order for people to tune in, or because they didn't believe in Keighley to be funny enough, McHale almost single-handedly tanked the entire event by being easily the most spiteful awards host in the history of award shows. From attacking the show to making fun of guests, the entire thing was so painful to watch, it's no surprise that this was the first and last VGX. It was a watershed moment for Geoff Keighley, however. The incredibly hostile show proved that bringing in celebrities simply to have celebrities didn't work, and that video games didn't need star power to be cool. This, combined with incredibly poor taste jokes and the awkward pacing, where Game of the Year was announced an hour in, followed by 2 hours of advertising, proved that Spike wasn't the place to understand them. So Keighley quit. He took his passion for game award shows and decided to try his hand at doing it independently. Putting up the initial investment himself, Keighley reached out to all his contacts in the industry, and the Game Awards were born. A 5,000-seat arena in Las Vegas was rented out, a new statue was created by Peter Jackson's Weta Workshop, and a board of the largest game developers and publishers was put together to act as advisors for the show. While that might immediately sound like a conflict of interest, those developers and publishers are only on board to establish procedures and collectively agree on what media sources are allowed to vote. This, of course, is a different kind of conflict of interest, but in general, it's all pretty above board. And considering you need the industry to support the event, it might be the only way it could even be done. That's not to say concern about Keighley isn't warranted. He's been at the center of some less than tasteful promotions, to the point where he has his own page on Know Your Meme, and a controversies headline on Wikipedia. People have lost their jobs, lawsuits have been filed, and careers have been ruined thanks to actions taken by Keighley in pursuit of his dream. However, the Game Awards 2014, the inaugural showing, was a success. Not a profitable success, but a success. At least 3,000 people showed up to fill those seats in Las Vegas, and almost 2 million viewers watched the event on streams across the internet. Almost double the people who watched Spike's VGX 2013. Those numbers have only gone up. And now, the Game Awards has become the premier video game award show in the world. Games like Breath of the Wild debuted their first gameplay reveal at the Game Awards. Steam, the Xbox Live Marketplace, and the PlayStation Store offer sales on the nominated games before, during, and after the show. And the show itself is streamed on consoles and Steam, and you can even submit your vote for games through Google, Alexa, Discord, and more. It's hosted moments that have become major gaming moments, like Joseph Fares' rant about microtransactions, and debuted From Software's Sekiro: Shadows Never Die before the name had even officially been revealed. Last year, it saw over 19 million views and 20 million tweets, and trended #1 worldwide. This year, we'll see 10 new games revealed during the show, including a heavily rumored Aliens game, Alien Blackout from 20th Century Fox. It's fair to say that Keighley has accomplished his goal of making an award show that has the respect of the industry and the viewership of the fans. But where can he go from here? The Game Awards is still a highly commercialized event and still manages to feel amateur at times. There is a pervasive feeling that every award comes with a "sponsored by" tag. And necessary or not for industry acceptance, it's still a sad feeling. That being said, there are a lot of positives to the format. The Game Awards are able to use their clout and influence to highlight emerging markets, introduce new award categories to adapt to changing gaming trends, and provide a baseline expectation for professionalism in an industry that's grown up with the people it serves. As the Game Awards grows and expands, it's not impossible to imagine that when it reaches nearly 100 years of annual shows like the Academy Awards, that it will be as established, as accepted, and as prestigious. Plus, it's not like the Oscars are any less commercial. There's also got to be something to say about the fact that the Game Awards grows in viewership every year, when traditional award shows are seeing the lowest numbers in their history. In fact, last year, they were within 20% of achieving the same viewership as the Oscars. Perhaps we'll start seeing the Oscars premiering new trailers and mini documentaries in between speeches, instead of the 7-hour-long self-congratulatory backpatting session it is today. I certainly can't imagine a video games red carpet where we ask Cliffy B who he's wearing. The future of the Game Awards is probably a mix of these, however. It's showing great strength and growth, but it's not the only game in town, and right now it's highly dependent on a single person. If Keighley is caught up in a major scandal, or decides one day that his passion is actually farming avocados, would the Game Awards continue? Additionally, Keighley has said he intends to start showing more backstory and in-depth reporting on the subjects of the awards given out. And there's some question about how willing an audience is to sit through a longer show with even less time devoted to actual awards. In the end, there's only so much self-celebration that an audience is willing to participate in, and the worst possible outcome is a future where people check their favorite gaming news site for a summary of the winners and interesting trailers. Do you intend to watch the Game Awards this year? We'll be co-streaming it live on Twitch like we do for every major gaming event, and we'd love to have you join us there with the rest of the Crymore community. There's a lot of games up for awards, and I've made some predictions, both of what I think should win and what I think actually will win. Join us and let's see how accurate our predictions are. If you like this video, then you can watch another one in the corner right now, and as always, we'll see you on the next one.